All right, hello again. Today we are going to be making our very own from scratch pizza dough. Now it's not the exact same recipe that we do at Hathaway Brown, but this is a very simple, fun, and easy recipe that anybody can do. Now, when it comes to making pizza dough, it's all sorts of fun. It's a little messy, or you can use a pizza dough maker, which is what we do at home, but we're here and we do not have a bread maker. That's what you use to mix our dough. Nor do we have like a KitchenAid stand mixer with a dough hook, which you can use as well. So we're just gonna be using our hands. So that said, the recipe today is a 2 1/4 teaspoon yeast, which I will have these recipes available, or just one little quick yeast packet, in which we're gonna throw right here. I'm gonna go ahead and set this down. Here we go. Hope everybody can see everything. There we go. I'm gonna pour our yeast into our warm water, and our warm water is 1.5 cups. Now you gotta make sure you get all that yeast out because it wants to stick to the sides and stuff like that. So get it all out. And then I also have in here a tablespoon of honey and a tablespoon of oil. You can use canola. I prefer to use extra virgin olive oil, or any other oil that you want to use. You're fine. It's no big deal. And we're gonna let that kind of just sit there and dissolve. Now, when it comes to the water, you want to have that about 100 degrees, not too hot. Anything like, you know, when you get to like super hot where you can actually see it steaming, it's gonna kill the yeast, and that's no good. Our flour here is 3.5 cups of flour. Now, I'm trying to make a little bit of a healthier dough, so I did 1 cup of whole wheat flour and then 2.5 cups of white flour. And then you need salt here, and that's 1.5 teaspoons of salt, which I'm just gonna sprinkle right in with our flour. And then any other seasonings that you like. For me, when I'm doing like Italian cooking, I like red pepper flakes, I like garlic powder. I like oregano, and I like, oh, is that more oregano? Basil and oregano, okay? Other things that you can use for Italian, if you want, you can throw some thyme in, you can throw some onion powder, but these are what I had available to me, so that's what we're gonna use. And in you go. And I'm just gonna give that a little bit of a stir here, just to kind of make it all even. So the thing about yeast is that it's a leavening agent, and it makes the dough rise. What happens is, as it digests or ferments sugars and starches, it causes the dough to rise by trapping in gas bubbles inside it. Now the salt, not only does it provide flavor, but it also slows the fermentation process. Now, the sugar that we're using is honey. So it's gonna digest that honey and ferment and process and mix and create and rise our dough. Fun stuff, science. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in here so we can get our dough mixing. And I am very much the type of person that likes to use a spatula to get every little bit out, because sometimes your honey is gonna rest on the bottom along with your yeast, and that's just something that you don't want. So I'm gonna let that sit there, and I'm gonna pre-flour the surface to knead on. And away we go with the mixing. If you're not used to mixing your own dough, just start off easy. Don't do what I just did there, where you flick flour out of the bowl, but just kind of using your hands, work the dough, and you can turn the bowl while you do it, but you're gonna wanna work in all that moisture and flour together. Oh yeah, there we go. It's coming together. It's very sticky at first. Another thing you can do is going from the bottom and then pressing in like that, and that starts to really absorb, and then you're able to kind of clean your fingers off and rework the stickiness back into the dough. So we're gonna keep doing that. Keep flipping it around. sit there and think, well, it's not gonna absorb anymore. Oh, it will. You just have to keep working that dough. So I'm gonna keep trying to get all these little pieces off. Sometimes rubbing your hands together works really well. I will, yes. Sure. Sam is helping me in the background. Say hello, Sam.
Hello.
That's that trademark LuLaRoe voice of hers. As I've stolen her opening line is hello, hello, hello to everyone.
I didn't notice that.
I know, well, I didn't know what else to say other than hi. All right, so this is coming together, as you can see. Hold that up for you. It's kind of rough around the edges right now. Doesn't look the prettiest, but that's okay. That's what the kneading is for. There's my daughters. So I'm just gonna keep, on a lightly floured, clean surface, I'm just gonna keep working this. And when it comes to kneading, it's more or less just about working the dough, flipping it. And if it's like really sticking like this is, no worries, just grab a little bit more flour. The goal is you want to work this for about, if you're doing it by hand, 10 to 12 minutes, or if you're using a mixer, 8 to 10, or if you're using like what we do at home, a standard bread maker, which has a mix and proof button on it, that does it automatically. Like you literally put your ingredients in and then turn it on, and then it'll beep and yell at you and you know it's ready. So that is what I'm going to do here. I'm not gonna make you watch me knead for 10 to 12 minutes, but when we come back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this back in the bowl, and it's gonna be oiled. And when we come back, it will have rested and doubled in size because the yeast is going to ferment and do its process. And we're gonna come back and I'll split it between 2 pans because we like thin crust, and we'll build our pizzas and then we'll bake our pizzas, all right? So, that said, woo! Oh, now's the time when I need an assistant. But I'll just get down here like this. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
It's my turn, Daddy.
Okay, here you go.
Because you got to go together, but we don't. Okay, the dough. You have to stick it together. Make the piece. I'm making the piece and not put the butter on it anymore. I'm gonna toss it in the air, Daddy. I'm gonna toss it in the air, Daddy.
No, I don't think so. Okay, we are back. We've been kneading for the last at least 10 minutes, I'd say. And our dough is about ready to go into the oiled bowl, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what things you can look for to know when it's ready. So I'll let Sam put the camera down and I can show you the dough. So as you can see, my daughter showed up to help and she's been helping me knead. Again, it's just a process of folding and pressing, and folding and pressing. But we're at a point now where I feel there are some signs that tell me that we're about there. So first thing is when I stop and I try to just make it into a nice ball, it's nice and smooth. So that's the first sign. The second sign is that it's pretty much holding its shape. It's not going blah or doing anything crazy. The next thing that's happening is the poke test. If I go like that, does it spring back? Yes, it does. And now there's another test that you can do called the Windowpane Test, where you take like a golf ball sized piece and then you stretch it out. And then it's almost like it'll stretch to the point of like a window pane. Well, you can't necessarily do that when you incorporate wheat flour into these types of recipes, simply because it's a much denser dough, so it's going to make it a little bit heavier and it won't have necessarily the same elasticity. So I'm not going to try that here. And then finally, the last thing that can tell you that you're done is that you're tired, which means that you've been kneading for what feels like forever, and so no worries. So I'm going to take that into our oiled bowl here. I'm just gonna oil the one side and then just flip it over and get oil on the other side. And then I'm just gonna cover it and place it in a warm spot cover with either you can use a dish towel or you can use a piece of saran wrap or whatever suits your needs. So next time you come back, this will be double in size and we'll get it spread out on sheet trays, okay? See you soon. And we're back. All right, so the dough has been hanging out in a warm spot, and usually that can be like in an area covered with like a towel, which could be your oven while it's preheating and whatnot. But we have our dough here. Ta-da! It has definitely doubled in size. So now I'm going to take it and split it up between two pans. Now, if you like super thick crust, you can totally get away with doing one sheet. This is just your standard cookie sheet. This is something that we've always used. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of oil on here and spread it around with my hand just to give nice coverage here.
Chef, about how much oil would you say?
I would say that's about 1 tablespoon, maybe even 2. The biggest thing is just to try and get like coverage. And I know this is a non-stick pan and you can see the oil is not completely covering every square inch, but it's always good and I like what it does to the crust when it bakes. So I'm gonna take my dough and best that I can, I'm just gonna try and split it into 2 equal size doughs and then just plop it down and do what I like to call like the first press. Now again, this is going to be a little bit, it's gonna be stretchy and it's gonna be more dense because the fact that we use that whole wheat flour in this recipe. So I'm not guaranteeing that I'm gonna get full coverage here, but we're gonna try. But again, the whole point of this is to work the dough best you can, and it's kind of like it gets tough, but then it needs to relax. Dough's like very much a process and a labor of love for making sure that you want it gets tough and then it relaxes. It gets tough and then it relaxes. Thank you. So I'm just pressing it out best I can. And it'll probably, I'll let it rest for like another 10 minutes. And then I should be able to, 10, 15 minutes, be able to get it to a point where I can press it out again and then actually start putting toppings on. But you definitely don't want to get to a point where you don't want to put toppings on the first press, unless you're in like a really big hurry. But again, see how already, whoa, careful tripod. We almost had ourselves a disaster there. But see how already I can press it out even more just by going back and forth. So I'm gonna do that a couple more times here.
Want to talk about the holes you're putting in it?
Yeah, it's okay to have holes in here. Again, this is just helping the process and getting the stretch. And it's okay if there's holes in your pizza dough in the bottom here. Again, this is a thin crust that we're going for. So the holes, they'll definitely fill in, and it's not gonna be any issue when it bakes because everything expands when it goes in the oven. All right, that's the pizza oven telling me that it's ready, so perfect. All right, I'm gonna let these relax here, and then I'm gonna press them again, and then the next time you see us, we'll be building. See you soon. And we're back.
Hi.
All right, so our pizza dough had rested, and you know there was a word that you use when you're getting the pressing done. It's called docking, and I forgot to say that. So we dock,
I didn't know that.
yeah, dough docking. So, and you can actually buy a dough docker and it's got like this little rolly thing with spikes and it goes, we actually use it at work. So this dough is about ready to go, as you can see, but I wanted to show you guys like just how important that rest is, because this dough, I'm just gonna finish up for you because as you can see, it will actually reach the entire edge of the pan. And again, don't worry about the holes. And Sam, if you want to, you can jump in and just kind of do one last press. But I do like to give it just like a little bit of a lip, so that way, you know, it kind of holds the ingredients in and whatnot. And then we're gonna make 2 different pizzas. Now, again, when it comes to making pizzas, you are using what you have available to you right now. So for this one, we're gonna do a simple fresh sliced tomato, oil, little bit of shredded mozzarella cheese, and then fresh mozzarella cheese and finish when it comes out with fresh basil. So I'm going to go ahead and start with seasoning because I like a little bit of garlic and salt on here. So I'm just using granulated garlic. And then I'm gonna just crack some salt on here. I like pepper. So I'm gonna do a little pepper. I'm a big fan of pepper. You don't have to add any of this. Now the reason that I'm doing this part first is because I want it to stick to the dough a little bit. I feel like it won't stick as well when you do oil. So Sam is gonna go ahead, just to, again, to add a little bit more flavor to the dough, she is going to spread a little bit of garlic powder on hers. And now I'm just gonna rub oil. Now you can go, I'm probably doing about 1/8 of a cup of oil on here.
Do you want to mention what our
our
pizza
sauce
is tonight?
Our pizza sauce tonight is marinara. I'm gonna get a little bit more on here. And again, that's just what we had, and that's okay. You know, there's plenty of recipes out there on the Google, so you can always find, if you happen to have like just tomatoes and you want to make your own sauce, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I got my oil base. Sam is starting to spread her marinara, air quotes. And I'm gonna say that she's gonna use probably about a cup. Again, if you like a lot of sauce, then you put a lot of sauce on. It's okay. No one's gonna having a problem with you, huh? You can talk with an Italiana voice, so while you do this, it's okay.
You can.
Oh, I mean, I might not do a good job at it. So I almost did the
I
wrong.
like a lot of sauce.
Yeah, Sam, she like it a sauce. It's okay. So I'm gonna just do a little thin layer of the shredded mozzarella just for pizza coverage again, and because I'm gonna use more of it on the pizza next door here that Sam's building. And again, it's okay that you still see a lot of crust because we're gonna be topping with this fresh mozzarella that we just did a dice on. So now I'm going to put my tomatoes down here. And I like to slice the tomatoes nice and thin for two reasons. One, tomatoes have a lot of moisture content to them, so they can kind of make your dough a little soggier and make it not bake right. And so I'm just gonna spread these out a little better here. Again, it's pizza. There's no wrong way to make it. Well, I'm sure there is, but hopefully you're not gonna find that out here. I'm just making it nice and even. And again, you don't want too much moisture on here, like with a big thick tomato slice. One, it won't cook well, and second of all, it will make your dough soggy as it bakes. So I'm just spreading now the mozzarella on here, and you can see Sam is doing her part, making the pepperoni. And
cheese.
Yep, she likes cheese. And again, it's your pizza. Do what makes you happy. That's what this is all about. This process, guys, I'm not gonna lie, is not something that if it's 6 o'clock and you wanna eat dinner at 7,
Don't do it.
don't do it. You've waited too long. But if it's like, you know, a lazy Sunday and it's like, you can make this dough a day ahead if you wanted to. 2 days ahead as long as you're packaging it well, which means, you know, you're putting it in like an airtight container or you're wrapping it in individual saran wrap. You can put it in the fridge and it'll last, you know, a couple days, no problem. But again, this is a process where it's more labor of love. So don't think that if you're hungry at 6, you're eating at 7. This is something where I think we started at probably, I don't know, 4-ish.
Yes.
And it's 6:40 and we're getting ready to go in the oven. So no worries, we ate a late lunch. So I got my mozzarella spread out nice. We got a beautiful pepperoni, and we are getting ready to throw these bad boys in the oven. The oven is at 450 degrees, and which is, you really want a nice high heat. So the next product will be the final reveal. Looking forward to talking to you. Bye-bye. Okay, real quick, if you want to add any kind of toppings to your pizza, like mushrooms or peppers, I suggest that if you're doing it at home, to saute on high heat first before you add them to your pizza, because you want to extract some of that moisture out of the mushroom in this case, so that way it doesn't make your pizza soggy, and it'll make like a really nice crispy mushroom, okay? So this was a late request that I was not expecting, but I figured it's a great chance to show you guys. So he's got these yummy, yummy mushrooms cooking, and they're gonna go on the pizza. All right, we'll see you soon. Pizza's almost ready. Pizza's almost ready. Pizza's almost ready. Pizza's almost ready. Okay, we are ready. Now, one thing I want to tell you, that since we were cooking 2 pizzas at the same time, about halfway through, which this is about 14 minutes of cook time, about halfway through, I went ahead and switched them on the racks. So I have one that's second row up and then one that's a little bit higher, just so that there's room. So what we're gonna do is, I wanna transfer these, because I don't wanna cut directly on these nice sheet pans. I'm just gonna transfer them like so onto these cooling racks. Throw this right here. And here goes the other one. And so that way, the reason that I'm not letting them just sit in the pan and cool is that it'll actually almost steam your crust. And you want your crust to kind of breathe a little bit, and it'll get like a nice crisp to it. So, the only thing that we need to finish now is the basil topper for our, I'm actually saving that little, do you guys like burnt cheese? Anybody else out there like burnt cheese like me? Do you want my burnt cheese?
You can.
Okay, I'm gonna eat it. Oh my gosh, it's so yummy. I'm gonna throw some fresh chopped basil on this. So, one thing that I wanna talk to you guys about is fresh farmer's market right here. Just a simple basil plant. I would much prefer to just continue to grow basil inside. This guy just needs a little bit of water every once in a while, as opposed to buying fresh basil at the store. Just buy a plant and just grow it. It'll be perfect. So I'm just gonna give it a little rinse here. And as you can see, while I was picking it like making layers, and then I'm just going to do like a little chop by rolling these leaves up here. Now again, this is called a chiffonade, and you don't have to do it exactly like me. It's just a quick, easy way to do a chop, is by rolling it up and then just running your knife through. So I'm going to sprinkle our fresh basil all on the pizza, if I can get it off my hands, and voila. And then I'll transfer these, after they cool, I'll transfer them to our little cutting board here and cut them, and bon appetit. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you.
Enjoy your pizza.
Yeah, enjoy your pizza. And if you guys do make pizza, please, shoot me an email, shoot me a picture. I would love to see, your guys' results and what kind of pizzas you make and how everything turned out. Again, it's supposed to be fun. You're cooped up. Let's try and make some fun food while we can, all right? All right, take care. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll be chatting at you. Bye-bye.